commentaries, comment on a newly published article from that journal, normally invited by editors. Author are expert in the field, may draw attention to current advances and speculate future directions of a topic. But we must remember that when we comment, we must maintain respectful tone, not to critique the ideas or not to critique the authors lah. I'm sure if you are the expert in the field, we will not do that. Okay, we want to stimulate advances in knowledge. So letter to editor, it can be journal, magazine, newspaper, a response to a specific article. For example, now COVID-19, choose the appropriate medium. Again, not to be rude or specific, but must be specific and evidence-based. Kita nak tulis, and it must follow strictly the proper formal letter format. Okay, case report. Case report is a description of important, interesting scientific observation not detectable in clinical trials. Very commonly written by us, people in the medical field. I'm sure we have so many very experienced lecturers, professors who have been dealing with so many cases. It's very good. But usually, it is unusual clinical condition, something that is unusual selalunya. Previously unreported or unrecognized disease, unusual side effect of a therapy, unusual response to treatment, unique use of imaging modalities. People from the radiology, Dr. Husbani, that you can present your case report for unique use of imaging modalities maybe or diagnostic tests. Abstract is a brief and short, usually less than 100 words. It is unstructured. This I will touch a bit on the format of the abstract. Most clinical question and diagnostic problem, provide info for easier retrieval from the, because if the abstract will provide easier electronic database retrieval. Okay. So it has abstract, introduction, case description, discussion, and brief summary and conclusion. It's much shorter than the report. Okay, but it is considered lowest in the hierarchy in medical literature. Infrequently cited yang ni. But it doesn't matter. The important reason for writing case report is we want to share our experience. So because we are not going to 100% just depend on citation. Many editors remove case report section, likely to decrease impact factor of the journal. But in AJMB, we accept every volume, every issue we have case reports. Even though it is not it's not a favorable format, but it allows anecdotal sharing of individual experience for optimum patient care, useful exercise to write scientifically. I think if I'm not mistaken, Prof Aniza, we has already the dean and Prof Aniza has already planned for a special session on case report with Dr. Irfan, AP Dr. Irfan in USM. Maybe we can do online. Not so sure about that. Okay. Okay, the original article. The most common type of journal manuscript, normally being referred to as research articles. Publish full reports of data from original study. So this one you have to have your study, then you can publish as original article. And normally they follow the IMRAT universe suitable for any fields, introduction, methods, result, discussion, and conclusion. So that is the usual format that we use in writing the original article. Should be written by person actually conducted the research, must include research question, hypothesis, objective, detail of the research method, the method used, should be explicit, the results presented, interpreted and discussed, conclusion, and of course recommendation. But negative results should also be published if it is important. Huh? So I will go towards these original articles in terms of title and abstract, because these are the two important aspects that you can be rejected outright. Okay. Title, usually we should have a powerful title lah. It's the face of the content of the article. Sometimes editor looks at the title, see whether it is related to the scope of the journal, or the article, the title may be not so favorable with them. So we should try to make our title powerful, because I mean we can't run away. Beautiful face, beautiful space, good heart person. Is it so? But in terms of article, maybe it has to be like that. Good, powerful title indicate good article, I suppose so. Okay, good write-up, author need to ensure title is good. So it goes hand in hand. But people look at the face first. When you meet people, you look at the face. If you are grumpy, then people don't like you. So if you are smiling, people want to approach you. Itulah ya. So role of title in journal articles, part of the article that is read and most read. And the first thing that journal editors and reviewers see when they receive your paper. Chances not being reviewed just by the title is possible, because it implies relevance to the journal scope, as I said just now. Available, and another thing is it is available by readers using search engines or indexing database, because people will search for articles looking at the titles. Okay. So types of title, there are three types of title that I know of that I can summarize. One is declarative, descriptive, and interrogative. Okay, declarative, that means you state the main findings or the conclusion in the title. I think this is quite good lah, people looking for it. Descriptive, as the usual that we normally do not reveal the conclusion. Interrogative, introduce subject in the form of a question. For example, if you do research on weight management and self-esteem, if you compare the three, which title do you feel that you want to read? If the declarative title, a 3-month weight loss program increases self-esteem among adolescent girls. So I think this is very interesting for us to read further. Descriptive, then we say the effects of weight management program on self-esteem among adolescents. This is the usual way that we normally write. Or we can do interrogative. Does weight management program improve self-esteem? Okay, and another example maybe related to the COVID-19 outbreak now. If you want to do a declarative title, maybe metabolic syndrome increases mortality among COVID-19 patients. If this is the conclusion of our study lah, maybe, so we can declare that in the title. Or descriptive, maybe awareness and perceived risk towards COVID-19 and mental health among UNISA students. So describe je lah. Might be interesting to know. So interrogative, does frontliners of COVID-19 outbreak uses PPE appropriately? So this is interrogative. So might call people to read your article or to publish your article. Another example is research on mammogram screening in Terengganu. Declarative, elderly women in Terengganu do not favor mammogram screening. So will create curiosity, why elderly women in Terengganu do not favor mammogram. Or descriptive, the uptake of mammogram screening among elderly women in Terengganu. Or does elderly women in Terengganu go for mammogram screening? So these are the three different ways that you can portray your title. Basically, title should be powerful. If you want to be powerful, how to measure power? Should be brief and self-explanatory. That means from when people read the title, it already gives the impression about the study. The reader should get the impression about the study and it should sell your article. It can be catchy, especially because this is not a proposal or thesis title. This is a manuscript should attract reader. Be reminded that a manuscript title can be written as catchy as possible compared to grant, application, proposal, or project proposal. So you can choose whether you want to make it powerful or catchy. So this is an example of catchy title. Who pays the pizza? Redefining the relationship between doctors and the drug companies. Or do environmental, let's see this. Do environmental from attempts to do environmental cues from attempt to stop smoking, a prospective natural history study. So these are the types of title that can make people excited to know what is written. Another one is the benefit of meeting a stranger, experiences with emotional support provided by nurses among Danish-born and migrant cancer patients. Actually, this is a qualitative study comparing the experience regarding emotional support provided by the nurses who interviewed Danish-born and migrants with cancer. So because the conclusion of the study was being positioned as a stranger to the patient gives nurses a unique position to provide emotional support during cancer treatment. That was the conclusion of the study. So they put it in the title. The catchy part is the benefit of meeting a stranger. So that's how they manipulate the title, becomes interesting, but it's actually from the conclusion of the study. So another one is relationship between sexual functioning among couples undergoing infertility treatment, a pair of perfect gloves. So the catchy part is actually a pair of perfect gloves, which indicate the conclusion of the study, that both husband and wife must go through the process of infertility treatment together, just like a pair of gloves that should be worn in both hands. If worn in one hand, it defeats the purpose of the glove. So very interesting. I think people, if you are able to do this, you must have a good language ability lah. But we can always try. So the thing is, the conclusion is being reflected in the title. So the do's of a title: brief and attractive, not too long or too short. Limit 10 to 15 words. Okay. Use active verbs instead of noun-based phrases, like drug A has an effect on muscular contraction. So it's active lah, showing that it has. Drug A induces muscular contraction. Active verbs create positive impression and stimulate readers' interest. So use words being used in the manuscript or the current nomenclature. Titles with result described in it found to be cited more often. That was a finding found from a review. Titles with result described in it found to be cited more often. So it's the first part of the types of title. That means you put the finding in the title. Do not include like a study, analysis of, it will use up the words, the number of words. Rarely in exclamation mark, avoid using abbreviation, jargon, unnecessary words. follow standardized capitalization, usually the uppercase in the first word, but do not capitalize the function words like and, the, it. It is only capitalized when used as the first word, the first after colon, like a review study. So this A is capitalized. But basically, we have to follow what the guide to authors by each journal, by the journal that we targeted. Try not to project too much positivity in the title when the result may not depict so. Okay, anti-diabetic effect of herb A on experimental Trcik dolly rats, for example. So after reading the entire manuscript, no significant anti-diabetic action was seen. So the authenticity of the title will be questioned. Do not underline title, no full stop after the last alphabet in the title. Be reminded that follow the instruction to authors of the targeted journal. This is very, very important. Even we in AJMB also, we find that manuscripts sent to us do not really follow, because I think the author do not really read the guide to author, but because our journal is new, we want manuscript, so we are quite lenient in that sense. But if you want to target high index journal, it will be definitely rejected outright if you don't follow, especially the title, the abstract, the font, and all that. So in Nature, for example, the journal Nature, title should not exceed 2 lines in print. So it is stated, normally it is specifically stated in the guide to authors. And lastly, the abstract. Abstract is a standalone document containing key aspects of your research project. Very crucial in academic paper, hence it should be compelling, competing for readers' attention. People are overwhelming with information in the digital era, so do not need to read, they often do not read the whole documents. And furthermore, not everyone afford to pay for full article, for full paper to read, so they will normally look at the abstract. I mean, we have experienced that before during our postgraduate time. We read a lot of abstracts. So abstract can be structured, unstructured, or it can be informative, describing, or critical. It depends on the requirement of the journal. Some journal specifically mention that it has to be structured, it has to have the introduction, objective, method, specifically highlighted in the abstract. So it just follow the instruction to author. Structured usually covers each aspect of the introduction, aim, methods, result, and conclusion, but of course no discussion. Unstructured, content is the same, but you just remove the subheading, so it becomes unstructured. That's written in one flow. If the requirement is unstructured, just remove the subheading. You can change that from structured and unstructured. Informative abstract, most widely used. A complete document with introduction, objective, like I said just now, the length is about 200 to 300 words, 250, depend on the guideline given, can be both structured or unstructured. The descriptive abstract normally is shorter. Sometimes outline research question, methods, and work scope. No result or conclusion. Data collection not complete, but you are required to present your work. I have experienced this before where my analysis is not ready yet, but I want to send the abstract to the conference. So I did a descriptive abstract, outlining the methods, the work scope, and it was accepted. No result given. We will say that the results will be presented during the conference. So the good part of the descriptive abstract lah. We can give earlier from before we get the result. More appropriate as an unstructured abstract. Another type is the critical abstract. This is rarely used, reserved for literature or systematic review. Maybe Prof Atim can talk about this in his session. To explain from the angle that we critique, contain evaluative statement and recommendation. Critical abstract. I'm not so familiar also with this. Number of words. This is also important because if you submit article normally online, there will be specific section for abstract, for the content. If you go beyond the number of words given, you will not be able to submit. So we must always follow the number of words recommended. Okay? Normally 250 for abstract, occasionally 300. Some restrict to 150. Yeah? So this is a challenge for us lah in writing. But I think we are already used to it. Okay. So what I include in abstract, mentioned just now, introduction, brief background, problem statement, objective, maybe some gap of the study, yeah? Methods, the design, place of study, among who, the sampling method, and the tool used. And not because it is an abstract, it cannot be very detailed. 2 to 3 lines. The result, no need to write all descriptive result and univariable analysis. Focus on the perhaps prevalence, if it is a prevalence study, or the multivariable analysis. List the significant variable. No need to put all the variable that you have, stating the AOR or p-value or the 95% confidence interval, the numerical values. This should be included in the abstract for the significant variable. So you can limit the number of words by doing that. Conclusion and recommendation, study implication, 1 or 2 lines, only cover scope of your study or academic paper. Keywords, yes, very important. Normally 3 to 5 keywords, not so many. Matches what people normally use in searching your topic. Okay, because we want people to read our paper and cite our paper, so we must choose the right keywords so that people will meet our paper. And they search for it. So what should be excluded in an abstract? Do not go beyond the scope of your paper. Do not cite others. Do not put references. Do not include too much jargon or acronyms. Avoid too much detail on statistical method, routine tests, statistical criteria. Do not start a sentence with numerical. For example, 400 respondents were recruited. You have to spell it out, unless a numerical chemical formula. So the strategy in drafting the abstract, this is written last, especially for informative abstract. Remember, it is an outline of your main paper. Review each section of your paper and highlight 1 or 2 sentences that capture the main idea of each section and put it in your abstract. Each section of your paper may contain many subsections. So identify the overarching concept that ties all the subsections. So you choose from what you have written and transfer it into your abstract. And there is also what they call it graphical abstract. This is it's a single, concise, pictorial, visual summary of the content of the article. Visible online, not yet in PDF or print form, I think. I'm not so sure, maybe I'm not updated. More appropriate for lab-based study. So the abstract is graphical abstract, which summarize the study. So these are the references that I use. And lastly, thank you for listening. I hope I have given some information, good information, not new information, but something to recapitulate, especially for the younger lecturers. Thank you. Ramadan Kareem. Yeah. That's all. Thank you. Any we can Dr. Rose?
Hello.
Dr. Rose. Yeah.
Thank you very much to Prof Rahmah. I think it was a very clear presentation covering essential aspects of a scientific article writing. It's not surprising it was very clear because Prof Rahmah is a chief editor of our journal AJMB. Is there any question from anyone? You can unmute your mic.
Question or maybe other information, because there are so many expert people there in this group, can share their knowledge also.
Anyone?
Prof, Arif here. I have a question. For letter to editors, if we get our let's say it is published as letter to editor, does it accepted as index paper?
If the journal,
Even though the journal is indexed, depends on the journal.
The journal is an index journal, Scopus, for example.
Yes. But it is published as letter to editor.
Yeah, it doesn't matter because there is different types of manuscript or publication. What is important that people look at is whether your article or your letter to editor is published in an index journal. Yes, I think so. Prof Aniza, can you confirm that?
Ya. Assalamualaikum. Arif tanya ya.
Yeah.
Yes, saya.
So far for UNISA we accept according to the status of the journal, whether the type of the article. Some university they are quite strict in that case.
Prof, can I add something?
Yes, please.
Actually, Dr. Arif, one of the things we added, like what Prof already mentioned, it depends because our Myra score and LNP, they want a direct link of that letter to be indexed. The direct link considered is if, for example, NEJM or some other journals, they accept the letter to editor in the form of perspectives, correspondence, all those kind, and we have the direct link, then in that case it will be considered index. But like we have BMJ, we have BMC, all these kind of big journals, they accept the letter to editor in the form of response. So in the response, your letter to editor appear at the below of your original article. So in that case, they put it under other index, not the Scopus or WS index. Just to add in, inshallah.
Okay. So it depends on the journal you choose.
Yes, hello. Yes, Prof. If we have the direct link, then it's considered.
Okay. Thank you
Hello?
for the information. Yes.
Yeah. Well, in regard to the letter to editor, I mean for the items per se, that one will also be accepted as a publication.
Okay. You are telling or you are asking?
No, I'm telling.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Because some journal, I noticed that, as you mentioned, some journal already remove section for case reports, but they still accept report, but to be published in under letter to editors, such as Singapore Medical Journal and other journals lah. So I was just wondering whether UNISA will accept it as a publication, index publication instead of just letter to editor. Thanks. Thank you.
All right.
Okay. Is there any more question?
I think this is
Dr. Huda, just want to add in, Prof mentioned something very nice, which was graphical abstract. So this graphical abstract, normally we have another type of articles, like what Prof mentioned in the type of articles, which is called clinical images, which is very common in the big journals. So these clinical images, the abstract only acceptable as a graphical abstract. So it's for the clinical images. That is something I just want to add in.
is it still online only?
Yes, it is online. It is online. It is considered to be a separate article. If you go
Yeah.
like in any GM, you'll find it's called a clinical images in clinical images. And then even you have for elsewhere, you have the clinical imaging journal, which is more than 1+ impact factor now. So they normally accept these kind of abstracts.
Especially people who do lab work, should be
Yes,
able
Prof.
to
Yes,
do
Prof.
this graphical. Yes.
Yes, Prof.
Okay, thank
But
you, Pak Latif.
okay. I think the review articles, which I just mentioned one slide, the coming session is very important because I mean we do a lot of reading of the review. I think we should go and concentrate on review articles, and it is proven to be highly cited because now UNIZA and all university talking about citation and all that. I think it's very good session that is being prepared for us.
Okay, thank you very much, Prof Rahmah. So the next session is next week. Which will have narrative review article writing. So thank you everyone. I think it was a successful session. More than 50 people joined. Thank you very much.
Ramadan Kareem, everyone.
Thank you,
Allahu
Prof.
Akbar. Thank you, everyone. Assalamualaikum.
Salam.
Thank you, Prof.